I'm Casey Barzik from the School of Management, and I'd like to follow up on an earlier question, Chief, if I may, and that was with regard to the number of officers on the force and the shifts on which they work. Is there a connection between the incidence of crime or criminal activity and the staffing patterns? For example, do we have a greater incidence of crime on the 3 to 11 shift or the 11 to 7 shift? And does that correlate with the number of officers available? You mentioned a little bit earlier that that there's a lot of activity during the day, but maybe some of that activity whereby people call the police department really isn't criminal activity so much as it would be, you know, a lockout out of an office and some minor kinds of things. Whereas if there was, you know, a robbery or break-in or a fight, as what happened in Anderson, an assault, that truly requires police intervention and quick intervention. And maybe I'm even asking another question: how much does the police force view its activity toward the prevention of crime rather than to the investigation of crime? In other words, maybe police presence has a deterrent effect. And that, if that's the case, I don't know, that's a question that could be asked, then maybe we wouldn't have to hire that many people, but maybe deploy them better. In other words, working smarter rather than working harder or more expensively.
That's exactly right. Working smarter, not harder. When we have the personnel to be able to get out of the car, walk the hallways, get out of the car, ride a bike around when the weather gets nice. The weather's about to break, I think. But, you know, get them out there and get them. I have never, ever personally walked through any building and had a student not glad I was there. I've had students that come up to me to tell me they're glad I'm there. It's nice to see an officer. Well, we try and do that. The problem that we have is if you have 1 or 2 officers and there's an officer taking a report and you got an officer walking the hallways, if you will, whether it's in CLO or wherever, and you get something, we get hit and runs quite frequently. Now, we solve the hit and runs 9 times out of 10 because we have them on film. The campus is being videotaped. So whether it's in the parking garage or whatever, we'll see somebody bump into somebody, get out of the car, look at the damage of theirs, look at the damage on that one, and then get in the car, and then when we find them later, they claim, I didn't know I hit that car. So, but the point I'm getting at is, yes, we need to be inside, but yet we need to have somebody outside too. Because if I've got an officer walking the hallways on a midnight shift when there's all of a sudden a fight out at University Village, that officer's got to scramble back to his car. You know, the buildings are all connected. You go in the Anderson, you come out the gate, you've got to walk all the way back to your car. So, you know, that's something that we have to put up with too. But that all is part of patrolling, and that's what we're supposed to do. I hope that answers your question.
Is the incidence of crime higher at night on our campus? I was just curious.
I would say it is. I've been working days since I was asked to serve as interim chief. I haven't seen a whole lot of crime during the day. When you say crime, not all the crime here happens on campus either. I've got officers that have been involved when Hammond is looking for a suspect in a drive-by shooting, that the officer spots, well, he's crossing the street to go over to the fitness center. The car went right in front of him. He stopped him and made the arrest. So not everything that goes on in the evening started here, but it can certainly end up here. We've assisted them many times. We have a mutual aid agreement with Hammond. They're welcome. You know, they come over here to help us if we need, and you know, it's a two-way street. So let's keep it all out there as far as I'm concerned.
Maybe we should also make it clear that in addition to police officers, we do have security people, non-deputized people, who do patrol the campus.
Oh yes, we have student patrol. I mean, they walk around and you know, student patrol. No, they're not sworn law enforcement officers. No, they're not rent-a-cops. There are kids trying to get through college, but they're an extra set of eyes, like I talked about before. They have a radio. They can pick up the radio, key the mic, and get us over anywhere on this campus within 2 minutes. So they're a blessing too. And anybody that's on our side, I appreciate that.
I wanted to ask, I think clearly it's impossible for officers to be everywhere on campus at all times. I think in the article said something about cameras. There are cameras on campus. What kind of role do the cameras play, and in what way? Is there someone monitoring those on a regular basis? If there's only 2 officers on duty, one across campus and some over here, is there anyone actually monitoring them? What is the role of there being cameras then?
No, that would be a complete waste of somebody's time to sit and watch, you know, different cameras throughout campus. If we get a report that a certain incident happened at a certain time, we can go back on that and rewind. It's not like the old, in my era, rewinding the videotape. But we go back and we can look and see what happened at that date, at that time, at that area, and hopefully the camera's fixed on that spot. If it is, then I've got it on camera, and then we can follow that up.
All of the cameras record to a hard drive, so we don't lose anything that is seen by any of the cameras, and all of the exterior of the campus and the exterior doors and many of the interior spots are all covered by this camera system. So there's nothing that could happen in the parking lot that wouldn't be within the range of the cameras, though we don't always pick it up. Is that correct?
That is correct. It depends. You know, the P1 lot is a very big lot. It covers a big area on the east side of the entire building from Anderson to Guyton. And if something happens in a particular parking spot, say the handicap spot in front of CLO, if the camera was out panning the bigger part of the parking lot, there may be something that we don't see. But at least we've got a shot that we can go back and look for something.
Somebody else had a question or comment?
Regarding the incident in Anderson, has there been any suspects that have been identified, or any?
You got to bear with me on this. I can't get into that. This is under investigation, and for me to say something right now would jeopardize the case, and I can't do that. Okay, we're actively working it. Okay, and hopefully it'll have a happy ending.
As a senior leadership team, we'd be asking students to wear their IDs late at night so that they're easily visible.
Somebody, is that in the policy?
Yes, in the policy.
Ben, did you want to talk about the policy a little bit?
JD, with regard to the policy, the building access policy, students are requested at that point to always have their IDs with them, just to serve as another safeguard for the security officers and police that might be walking through the building.
To have it with them, or to actually visibly wear it?
To have them with them. Yeah, there isn't any requirement at this point that they actually be wearing them on a lanyard or anything like that.
Is that a suggestion?
Yeah, sure.